So this is working, right? Welcome everybody to the live hangouts I'm doing here on the Aviation Pro website, which I just released today, and I hope that it all works. Let me just see if that my settings are fine. Um, as you might be able to see, I'm using a new microphone, and yeah, that's it's quite cool to use this new microphone. Hope that it all works fine. So let's take a look. And there's a 30-second delay on the live stream, so that's why I'll probably see your messages, but then you'll hear me talking about it later on. But let me just see if everything is working properly. And there are quite a few people in the chat room already. That's very nice to see. As you may know, I've created this website in the last month, and yeah, basically I'm going to use the live page for my live streaming events and also the Chatango function to um, yeah, do everything. And I think I'm using the wrong microphone. Let's take a look. Maybe it works now. I'll have to keep listening to my own live stream in order to know when I'm having a good microphone. Maybe it's a Google Plus setting. Let me take a look. I hope that it all works out. But mm, kind of new to all this Google Hangout stuff. Ah, there we go.
I found it. There we go. And this should be a much better microphone. I had to set it in the settings in Google Hangouts, not just in the Windows settings. So I think you should be able to hear me much better just now. And I believe I was using the microphone on my headset instead, but of course that's not what should be happening. Um, so yes, let's see. So welcome all to the live stream again. There are about 10 people in the chat room. I can see that's very good. And you can set your name if you want. That's always better than having an anonymous name. And in that way, yeah, I know who I'm talking to, right? And we can chat about things. You can ask questions about the channel, about the new website that I've just released, or yeah, okay, now the microphone's working, so I'm gonna turn my own sound off right now and just keep talking like this. So yeah, if you have any questions about the new website and the channel, you can post them in the chat function. So I've disabled the normal chat function of YouTube because I want to get people to my website, and in that way, yeah, by getting more people to the website, I hope it works better and get some easier interaction because you don't need an account for this chat box and you can just join in. So I'm also trying to figure out how to use the apps of the Google Hangouts stuff. I installed something called Hangout Toolbox, but I'm not seeing it anywhere right here. So maybe it's somewhere else. Let's take a look. The Hangout Toolbox. I want to install that, but I don't think I'm seeing it. That's odd. With the toolbox, you can add some other things, like you can add a name bar under the video, things like that. But I'm trying to figure out where it exactly is. Or I might just try that another time. Let's take a look. few more apps. No, that's not weird. If any of you has any experience with the Google Hangout Toolbox, please let me know so that we can get this thing working properly. I'm not sure how to do it from this. Let's take a look. Cameraman. I'm adding an app. And it needs my permission to start somehow. But how exactly? That's the question. Maybe I'll just take a look. Headset back on so I can hear the chat sounds in the chat room. All right, I can see some people talking. Very nice. Pilot Prayer, hello, Pilot Prayer. Nice to see you. Few people here in the chat room. Very nice to see you all. And yes, Anonymous 4118. He says in Dutch, next time do it a little bit more early. I know. I could have done it earlier for Dutch people, but yeah, I was busy studying, and also eating, of course, was very important. And I just finished watching a TV program, quite a popular TV program in the Netherlands called Who's the Mole. And it's quite a nice program, and it's very interesting. And everybody watches in the Netherlands. So, and I didn't want to skip that, but I also wanted to do live stream. So that's why I decided to do it afterwards. So, but I'm glad to see that everything is working fine. The live stream is working fine. The microphone is working fine right now. It's the correct microphone is set. And there are a lot of people in the chat room, and I'm glad to see you all. And yeah, you can post your questions in the chat room, and remember that there's a 30-second delay, as always, because that will help better with recording the video afterwards. Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier. So keep that in mind, but I will answer your questions. Don't worry. But you might hear it a little bit later. So Pilot Prayer says, will you ever considering using Prepar 3D version 2? Yeah, I'm closely following the process of Prepar 3D. It's a very interesting thing. Yeah, it's a very nice simulation software, I think. And the thing that I'm waiting for personally is basically the 64-bit version. The reason why I'm still using and the reason why I'm still using FS 2004 is because I don't want out-of-memory errors, and I hear lots of people with out-of-memory errors flying flights in FSX. Whenever doing a long haul, they are on final from Amsterdam to New York. They are on final at JFK, and then boom, an error, and I don't want that. And with FS 2004, I never have that. And the only really solution to this problem would be 64-bit of Prepar 3D. So yeah, I'm kind of waiting for that whole process, and there's a lot of development taking place. I saw that PMDG released the 777s for Prepar 2D as well, and many other aircraft and scenery add-ons like the iFly and Aerosoft sceneries, for example, are released for Prepar 3D as well. So I think that's kind of the future simulator for me personally. And of course, you also have X-Plane, but I'm not really, it's not really my flight simulator platform. It's entirely different. And so yeah, I prefer to stick with the Microsoft Flight Simulator type of flight simulator. So, but I'm closely following the process of Prepar 2D, and I think I will buy it when a 64-bit version comes out and see how it goes. So there are many questions. Nice to see all those questions. Thank you for joining in. Um, yeah, I'll move the microphone. I have to adjust myself using this microphone a little bit. It's a new microphone. It's a blue snowball, if you want to know, and it's pretty cheap and yeah, good microphone for its price. And I had a good microphone here before on a headset, but that one broke down as I dropped it in some kind of weird movement. But that's that happens, and so I had to buy a new one. I've used one on my headset, this Logitech headset, for a while, but it doesn't work very well, or it's not as a beautiful sound as this microphone. If you talk very closely, you have very deep, deep sounds. But I'll not get too close. So let's see. Yeah, some Dutch people. I won't talk Dutch in the live stream, but I will understand your questions in Chatango. That's no problem. Yeah, all right. And Just Aviation, welcome. You ask if I have any tips when you want to start an aviation channel. It really depends on what you want to show on your channel. I mean, there's a lot of things you can add, kind of videos you can add to your aviation channel: flight simulator, spotting videos, whatever. It's important to make unique content. I think don't try to replicate me or any other aviation channel. Be unique, make your own videos the way you like them, and eventually you will get there. I mean, that's the way I did it. I just made a bunch of videos, and eventually I made those fats and videos, etc., and everything, yeah, worked out fine. So yeah, that's kind of my most important tip when starting your own channel or in any category, actually, to yeah, to make sure that you're unique and that you produce your own content and that you are happy with your own videos. And of course, you have to invest a little bit in a good system to record videos and things like that. So yeah, that is my most important tip for you. Welcome, Kieran. Welcome. Those strange names. Aviatic Austrian. Austrian. Hello. Welcome to see you. I'm glad to see you here. I guess you're from Austria, right? Um, let's take a look. And Marco, welcome here. And he asks, do you want to share cockpits sometimes on FSX? I don't have any experience with shared cockpits. Maybe we could try that sometime, though. Not sure which add-ons really support that. I know that Digital Aviation Fokker 170 have the shared cockpit function, so it must be pretty nice. But what's even nicer, of course, is if you're actually flying together with another person. Sometimes I do that with a friend too. You just make a flight, and yeah, together it's always nice. You can really share the workload like the real pilots do, of course, and that's of course very nice. And one pilot does the ATC, and the other flies the first leg, and then when you fly back, you switch roles. So that's pretty cool to do. But the shared cockpit, yeah, maybe you can try. I believe there's also freeware option for the MD-80, if I'm correct. So maybe I'll take a look at that sometime. Um, yeah. You have this blue snowball as well. ISO, I'm not sure if it's I or an L, but yeah, it's a very good microphone. I'm very happy with it, and it took a little while before it arrived, but it's definitely worth the money, and it's not too expensive. And of course, that's important when running a channel like this. Um, so there are a lot of questions coming in. I'll just type a little bit. All right. Continue asking or answering questions. I will do this stream for an hour, by the way, so I will stop at around 22:30 local time, 21:30 Zulu. Um, Just Aviation asks why FATSIM and not IVAO. Well, that's very simple. Um, what I always say, FATSIM is about the quality and not about the quantity, while IVAO is about the quantity and not about the quality. Now, VATSIM is really professional, and the unique feature of VATSIM is that it's really people get trained to become an air traffic controller. You cannot become an air traffic controller very easily on VATSIM. You have to join a VAC. You have to be controlling at one airport, for example, and yeah, it requires time and actual practice to become an air traffic controller, and that's what makes VATSIM so unique. Um, and yeah, because of these all these controllers who are trained very well, you as a pilot are kind of forced to go into that flow of staying professional and making sure that you make a proper flight because the ATC is trained for it and he knows what to do. So um, of course we can't train all the pilots. There's a lot of information available out there for pilots to start flying on the VATSIM network, but it's just impossible to train all the pilots. There are so many pilots on the VATSIM network, a lot less ATC. So yeah, it's basically um, as long as you train the ATC people, the pilots kind of have to go professional as well. So, and that's what I like VATSIM for. And it's not that it's completely empty on VATSIM. I mean, there are a bunch of events and evenings where it's busy. So you just have to choose the airports which are busy if you want to. And if you want to have a flying night and you don't want to be too busy, just go to smaller airports. You don't have to fly from Amsterdam to Heathrow every week. You can also choose smaller airports to try out, for example. So that's why I choose VATSIM. Let's take a look. And Skinner 11, good evening. Do you plan to build a home cockpit? I don't know. I mean, I don't have a house yet or something. I don't have my own family yet. Building a home cockpit would be really if I have a lot of money. That's the first thing. If I have a lot of space, like a garage or a loft with lots of empty space, and for now, I'll just keep with the Cytec ProFlight yoke system, and that works fine. But maybe in the very, very far future, if I really have time and I want to expand this hobby much more, then I will build a home cockpit. Who knows? But there are a lot of great videos and images out there of home built cockpits. And I'm kind of amazed how well those are built and all that. So yeah, it's great, but it's a huge investment. And I'm not sure if I'm going to make it with the current amount of money I have as a student. So for now, no, I'm not going to build a home cockpit. So let's take a look. All right. Kieran asks, what about the full flight videos with commentary? They are, in my opinion, what makes your channel stand out. I know. But again, making a full flight takes a lot of time. I will release a part 3 of the 3-part VATSIM video. Part 1 was the flight preparation for the flight from Minsk to Helsinki, and part 2 was the actual flight. But there's going to be another part 3, and I think I'm going to release it somewhere next week. And in that part, I will tell how I make such a VATSIM video and how much time it takes to make such a VATSIM video. And hopefully then you'll understand why I can't make those VATSIM videos that easily. It's not just that I'm making a flight. It's not just that I'm making a flight and doing commentary, saying what I'm doing and then upload it. I try to explain a lot during the flight, prepare a lot for the flight so that everything runs smoothly. And after that, I have to do the editing. I mean, I don't want to have a 7-hour long video or something. So I have to do a lot of editing, and of course, adding the subtitles is a lot of work. Because by adding the subtitles, you can easily follow what the ATC is telling to me, and also what I'm telling to the ATC. And this will help you to learn better, I think. I mean, not everyone understands or can hear the ATC properly, and that's something you have to get used to actually when flying on the VATSIM network. But adding those subtitles takes a very long time, especially when it's really busy and when you have a lot of instructions, for example. And and then you render the video, and then you see a mistake, and then you have to correct it. You have to render the whole video again, etc., etc. So um, it's not that easy as it may look, and that's why it takes some time to make a full flight. But I, of course, will do another one. I'm just not sure when exactly. Maybe I have a spring break after my current quad at university. So maybe at that time I have time to make a flight. Maybe even Atlantic crossing. Who knows? I mean, I'm kind of inspired by the recent KLM videos. KLM released a couple of videos with different flights. One from Amsterdam to London Heathrow, and from Amsterdam to St. Martin, and the last one from Amsterdam to New York. And yeah, just watching those videos is great, and kind of makes you want to make a flight again or an Atlantic crossing. So who knows? Um, and DEM Airbus, yes, good evening. Why FS 2004? Well, I kind of explained that already. It's really about the performance and that it doesn't crash at all. You know, that's the main thing why I'm still using FS 2004, and it looks pretty good too, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at my recent video, the iFly 747-400 KLM formation flight, I think that shows that FS 2004 can still look great, especially with an add-on like the iFly 747. It looks amazing, and together with the NL 2000 scenery, I think it looks pretty realistic. And I just don't need FSX with out-of-memory errors or PrepArt 3D 32-bit version. I'd rather wait for the 64-bit version of PrepArt 3D, as I've said before. So I'm choosing FS 2004 for the performance and not crashing during the flights. Let's see, what do we have? It's a lot more busy now than my previous live stream, so I'm gonna have to adjust to the speed at which people talk in the chat room. But I'm glad that it all works, and I had some troubles with this page at some points when creating a website, but it seems to work fine right now. And yeah, let's see. Where are we? Yeah, Pilot Prayer, that's my video. Yeah, that's was wearing my uniform. I will tell something about that in the third part of the Minsk to Helsinki video as well. So a lot of people like that uniform. So I think I will use it for the next flight as well. I mean, it looks pretty good, right? It just feels good to wear it, and yeah, I imagine myself walking around at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport with that uniform, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that, but we'll see. Yeah, Skinner 11, you're right. Performance it is. And then we have, let's take a look. Cal on Iveo is really great. It's very something because doesn't have experience. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I base my judgments of Iveo on many videos that I've seen on YouTube, and yeah, I'm just not really impressed. And of course, Vetsum may have some bad air traffic controllers as well, but it really depends on how well the VAC is developed. I mean, I think it's very unlikely that you will see a very bad controller at Amsterdam, for example, because I know from my own experience that the training at the Dutch VAC is very intensive, and you can't just pass your exam that easily, or you can't just become a radar controller that easily. I mean, I am still stuck at ground, but at some point I just choose to not continue anymore because all the time that I had for this hobby I wanted to spend on flying. So I'm not an active controller anymore there. But yeah, it really depends on what kind of region you're going. And Karen asks, sorry, which client do you use to connect to VETSOM? I'm still using Squawkbox, actually, simply for its convenience, really. I've set up Squawkbox to work with everything, and yeah, it just works perfectly. I might switch to vPilot or this new pilot client that they're working on at VETSIM. I'm not sure when they're going to release it. It's called Swift, but I'm not really following the development. But I'll see. For now, I'll stick with Squawkbox, especially in combination with FS 2004. Then we have Marco again. Are you a fan of the SATEC panels, like the multi-panel radio panel? No, not really. I don't have them myself. Um, I don't really see the use of it. I mean, they are based on, a general aviation radio panel, and yeah, I don't really see the point of it. I'm using my keyboard to control the MCP, and I'm using the remote flight app to control my communication radios, and that's fine for me. So I don't really think it's really worth to spend your money on those things. But if you like to really have a lot of hardware in your home cockpit, you can add them, of course. That's no problem. Let's take a look. Mm, what study do you have? I'm studying liberal arts and sciences. It's a university college. So that's what I'm doing in the meantime before I maybe engage in a flight training. I don't know. This is just a study as a backup, and maybe do masters after this, and maybe after that pilot training. I don't know. We'll see how the future goes. I can't really tell, but my goal is to at least get some kind of pilot license, like a PPL or glider pilot license. I mean, um, even though you have this hobby, you can make flight with airliners. You still want to have the real world experience, right? So we'll see how that goes. Then we have Fly Sam. Good evening, Sam. Um, glad that you're here. What's your favorite livery? Good question. Of course, I like the KLM livery. I mean, that's my own country, but I think I also like the United Continental livery. I like the tail of that one, and it just looks nice. And well, other liveries. Um, it's a good question. I think I like United the best, the new United colors. And although the new KLM colors are quite cool too, you might have seen them. Um, KLM is working on painting new liveries on their aircraft. They have repainted the Embraer and the 737, some of those aircraft already, and it looks pretty cool. They have this like dolphin look um, given to these aircraft, and it looks pretty nice actually. Just aviation. Do you still use the iFly 737? Yes, I do use the iFly 737. It's the main aircraft I fly on the VATSIM network, together with the Level D Boeing 767 and the Wilco ERJ series. I use those as well for my short flights, but I'm still using the iFly 737. I'm not using the PMDG NGX yet. Um, let's take a look. Right, Kieran. By the time that you hear this, you're already gone. But thanks for joining the live stream, and hope to see you next time, of course. Gonna take a little sip of water. Ah, I have to do a lot of talking during those live streams, and I have to keep up with all the questions that are thrown at me. Um, let's take a look. All right. And there's an anonymous 0709er. What is your favorite virtual airport in Europe? I think Amsterdam. I mean, that's my main hub, right? That's my home airport in real life. And but apart from Amsterdam, I like Bratislava as well because it's kind of a small airport which has a very nice scenery made by Taxi to Gate, and I kind of use that for my Central European flights because it's really in the heart of Europe, so you can make flights to Prague, make flights to Germany and Italy very easily. So I really like that airport. I think yeah, maybe Bratislava and Vienna. Those are my favorite virtual airports in Europe because they are so centered and you can fly to a lot of different countries from those airports. Just aviation. Where did you get that uniform? Yeah, well, just some kind of Dutch workwear website. Actually, you just looked for pilot uniform and yeah, and ordered it. That's really it. I mean, I'm not sure whether um, uh, whether there are real pilots using this uniform actually. And yeah, maybe they some airlines use this particular uniform. I really don't know, but it's basically just a shirt, also used by security guards, for example. But it looks pretty good. Anonymous2715, what's your real name? My new real name is Evert. Evert, it's in Dutch, but a lot of uh, Americans call me just Evert. And yeah, I still go to school, university, so um, that's where I spend most of my time, next to this hobby, of course, and keeping up the with making videos. So let's go to the next one. We still have half an hour to go, and it's going pretty well. 20 people in the chat room. Hi, nice to see you all. Welcome to the chat room. And again, I'll just tell it again for the people who just joined. There's a 30-second delay on the live stream, so by the time I read your message and I reply, you will hear my reply a little bit later. Okay, I've got to keep up with all those questions. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to answer all of them. Um, let's take a look. Skinner, do you have the Budapest scenery? Nope, I don't have the Budapest scenery. Um, yeah, you can continue the IVAO versus VATSIM discussion, but I'd rather do a separate live stream for that. You're right, Callum. And the Airbus asks, would you fly the Airbus or Boeing? For me, it's Boeing. I'm a Boeing man. I think you know that by now. I don't even have any Airbus add-on or anything. Um, let's see. There are some questions about model matching. Yeah, I don't have really much experience with model matching myself. I'm just using the standard models. I don't really care that much how the airplanes look. So I'm just using the standard Squawk Box model. It's not always working that good, but yeah. I'm sure there will be other options with the new pilot clients, vPilot and Swift, which will uh, do that a lot better. And Pilot Prayer, you're saying that the stream is 5 minutes behind. Yeah, I don't know. I've selected 30 seconds in the settings, and so I think if I'm just tuning up the volume, yeah, for me it's really 30 seconds. So I guess it depends on where you live. The live stream might be a little bit lower. Of course, it's all done through YouTube, and I'm sure YouTube is very busy. But for me, it's 30 seconds. If I look on the page on the Aviation Pro website. So let's go to another question. And let me see. Do you get stressed out when flying on VATSIM? And have you ever disconnected in such a situation? Yes, I have, of course. I mean, in my early years, that happens. I remember one time I joined a Friday night fly-in, and I was flying from London to Amsterdam, and at some point during the arrival, he said direct to Sugol, and Sugol is a waypoint. But I was very young at the time, and it was one of my first flights of VATSIM, and I thought he was saying Schiphol, that's Sierra Papa Lima VOR. So he repeated that over and over again, and at some point he ignored me because I was, of course, an annoyance to him, and then I disconnected. So that has happened, of course. Yeah, it's something that happens when you're young and when you're making your first flights, and that's why you shouldn't join large events like the Friday night fly-in instantly on your first flights. Really be prepared before you join such an event, because things might go wrong. So make sure you know the procedures, you know the phraseology, and also know how to operate your aircraft. Otherwise, you will make the same mistakes as I did. So yes, Anonymous 2715, Lazaro is right. It's liberal arts and sciences. All right, Matt, welcome in. Thanks for the comments. And yeah, the switch to FSX, as I've told before, I'm not going to switch to FSX. I I'd rather wait for PrepArt 3D 64-bit version. I hope that works a lot better than FSX because it's kind of an old system already, actually. And I hope that PrepArt 3D 64-bit will be built a little bit better. And yeah, we'll be able to cope with the heavy add-ons that we have these days, and we'll also be able to make smarter use of the hardware we have these days. I mean, uh, even though you have a good computer and a good CPU, you still need to fine-tune FSX in order to get enough frame rates, right? So yeah, that's why I'm still waiting. That's why I'm still using FS2 down to 4. So yes, some questions again. Why I'm still using FS2 down to 4? I mean, I even made a video about that actually. I can look it up, by the way. Now I have to look. I made that video a while ago, actually. Let's see where it is. And in the video, I explained why I'm still using FS2 down to 4. And I also showed my cockpit, my home cockpit there. I can see it. So I will share that video in the chat box. A lot easier for all those people asking the same question all over again. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. All right. So Skinner says FS9 does not support vPilot. That's why. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that actually. I'm not sure if Swift is going to support FS9. And otherwise, I'll just stick with Squawkbox because it still works. I mean, it's a very solid program. It never crashes or anything. And yeah, I don't see the point of switching to a new pilot client when it's just working fine. Of course, when using PrepArt 3D, I might have to switch to a new pilot client because I'm not sure how people connect to PrepArt 3D these days with what kind of pilot client they use actually. But yeah, I'm I'm using Squawkbox until yeah I leave FS2004 behind, I think. So yes, pilot prayer exactly. That's another interesting thing. He says rain on the windows. That is really one big benefit of FS9. You see rain on the windows of the in the virtual cockpits, not only on the 2D panel but in the virtual cockpit, and that's very very cool. Because when it's raining really hard, you're taking off, you're turning on the wipers, and the wipers do actually work. So that's good. That's great, of course. And you don't have that in FSX. The developers have to model that in the airplane itself, I believe. But in FS9, you do have those raindrops in the virtual cockpit, and that's really cool. And that's what I really miss in FSX. It's a very weird sight flying through the rain because it's kind of a like you're flying through some kind of tunnel because all these raindrops are coming at you, but they still go pass by you. So they go left and right, and that's it. They don't touch the window or anything. So that's what I really like about FS9, the raindrops. I'm not sure if it's in PrepArt 3D. Would be nice though. And also snowdrops, because snowdrops are not simulated to show on the windscreen in FS9. That's the only drawback. But since it's raining here most of the time, the raindrops are simulated. So that's quite nice. Let's take a look. Anonymous 7687. All right, I got questions about NL2000 and the iFly 737. Horrible frame rates at Amsterdam. There's only NL2000 ever, no photo scenery. I'm not sure. I think it's really about configuring the FS9 configuration file. That's really important with NL2000 because the textures are really large and you have to configure that properly. Just look for FS9 tips and tricks on Google, and there are some very good tips out there to configure the texture settings within the FS9 configuration file, depending on what kind of flying you do. So either low level flying, VFR flights, or high speed, high level flying with airliners. Okay, Anonymous 4183 asks, how did you learn how to fly well on FSX? Um, First of all, I'm not using FSX, but yeah, it's just well, I kind of got into Flight Simulator by a friend who studied at KLM Flight Academy, and he immediately introduced me to the Level B Boeing 767, and of course, I was amazed by seeing that it was possible to simulate a real airliner in Flight Simulator. That was really astonishing. So he learned me the basics of flying the 767, and after that, I just trained myself. I read a lot of tutorials, I watched a lot of videos, and that's the way you have to do it. I think. I mean, um, yeah, it's just practice a lot. And of course, I was young when I started with this hobby, so I think that helps a lot too. I still had a lot of time available to um, do a lot of flying and reading a lot about aviation and about the different aircrafts. And so that's how I got into this business actually. Okay, hello Anonymous 4949. Hello from France. Oh, you don't speak English. Well, that was a pretty good sentence in English actually, so it's not that bad. I don't know any French actually. Well, yeah, some of the basics, bonsoir and things like that, but I cannot communicate in French. I'm sorry, but that sentence was not that bad. It was correct. So you can try to use English. That's yeah, or Google Translate exactly. I mean, I'm sure Google Translate will do that pretty fine. Hello, Mike. Good to see you here. Welcome into the chat room. Um, there are quite a lot of people. Some people left, I know, but uh, there are now around 14 people, so that's pretty good. SAS 640, and he plans to become a commercial pilot in your real life. Yeah, I'm 20 years old right now, so I still have a lot of time. But I first want to finish studying, um, because I want to finish the study, you know, just as a backup, and also to have better chances for the future. Because if you can show that you have an academic study, and another person just came from high school, I mean, you have a kind of a benefit, right? Because you have a lot more experience in the academic world, and it doesn't really matter what you study, as long as you have that academic paper. At least that's what I hear most of the pilots in the real world say. As long as you have that paper, you can have a better chance of joining an airline, or when you're trying to get hired by an airline. So, and of course, as a backup, if the flight training fails or if you temporarily cannot get any job, having a study as a backup is really essential, because flight training is amazingly expensive. And if you don't have any study, you cannot find a proper job. And yeah, it's going to be very hard to pay it all back. I mean, you can become a cab driver or work in a supermarket, but that's not going to work very quick. And of course, you want to maintain a kind of a normal lifestyle as well during those years of your life. So um, maybe I will become a commercial pilot. I really don't know, but at least some kind of pilot license would be nice, of course. Um, okay, Lazaro tells us that there's a fix for the missing rain on the cockpit windows in FSX, so maybe you can try that if you want. If you're a proud FSX user, you miss those raindrops, you can try that fix. Okay. Morgy Beers, good evening to you. I'm glad you like the website. It's yeah, cool that you visited the website, and yeah, I'm good. I hope you're good as well. And I'm doing this live stream right now to answer the questions about the website and other general questions. And I will do more of these live streams in the future. So I hope you're all right as well. And good to see you in the live stream, of course. And then we have another question. What freeware add-ons do you use? Anonymous 4163 from Finland. Good evening to you, sir, or ma'am. I don't know. Um, yeah, I'm using a couple of freeware add-ons for airports like Prague or Helsinki, even. But not any freeware aircraft add-ons. I think most of the add-ons are payware. But for sceneries, some sceneries I do use freeware because I mean we don't want to have to buy a quite expensive add-on for every airport you go to. Um, are you going to do some flying a bit later, or are you going to just hang out and answer questions? Yeah, that's what I'm really here for right now, just to answer questions and to test the live stream, basically. That's what I wanted to do. And of course, test the new website because I've just released the website. And yeah, I think it's working very well. And the chat function is very well. And a lot of people join in. So I'm glad that it all worked. And yeah, it's good to see it all working. And yeah, we can do this more often, of course. So I'm not going to fly later. I'm not at my parents' home, and my parents' home is where my computer is and where all the flight simulator stuff is on. And I'm now just using my laptop, and that's never going to be able to handle FS2 downs to 4 the same way. So I don't fly when I'm here for studying. Okay, Mr. Bear 012, good evening to you. I am fine, and yeah, welcome to see you here. And he's not too bad, and he's doing a virtual Ryanair flight from Bristol to Budapest and a halfway. Very nice. So I should be able to see you. Are you? I presume you're flying off Hudson, right? I mean, we can open the FatMap app. What's your call sign? Because if we if we know the call sign, we know where you are exactly, right? I mean, it's so easy using the FatMap app. You can just see all the flights. Let's take a look. You can also click on flights and then click on the airport. Would you Lima Hotel Bravo Papa? Uh, you must be. Let's take a look. You must be Ryanair 8206 then, right? Let's see where you are on the map. If that works. No, it doesn't work. Type the call sign. No. Well, nice to see you on the VETSIM network. Good. I hope you have a good flight and a safe landing in Budapest. All right, let's continue. I have about 10 minutes left, and then I'll close the live stream, and the remaining questions I will answer on in the chat box itself. But I cannot keep talking for more than 1 hour because at some point I have to go to sleep as well because I have to wake up early in the morning again. And the Airbus asked if I want to tell my list for add-ons for FS 2004. Well, I will give you a link to my new page on the new website. And there I'll tell something about add-ons and what I'm using to make FS 2004 look a bit better. Let's take a look. That's wrong. Add-ons. So here we go. And Snake to CZ. You're from the Czech Republic, I reckon. Good evening, W Vetcher. I'll say it in Czech if you're Czech. A live Vetsen video. Yeah, I don't really know. You know, doing a live Vetsen video, I don't want to get it too boring. I mean, especially if you have a cruise, maybe a short flight, maybe like a VFR flight or something, or maybe a flight with multiple people and then live streaming it. Would that be a good idea? Maybe have a little bit more interaction. I don't want it to be a boring live stream video where someone makes a flight and just tells what he's doing and talking to ATC. I mean, that's too boring for me. So I'm not going to do that. But maybe some other more interactive video would be nice. All right, Mike. In case you decide to start pilot training, which school would you use? Any idea? Now in the Netherlands, we have multiple flight training schools. The most renowned one is the KLM Flight Academy, of course. I think I would go for that one because it's all the way up in the north of the Netherlands, so it's quite far away from my hometown and stuff. But yeah, it's a very good flight training school, and you can also do what is called. You can get training on a 737, for example, to get your what's it called? I forgot the name, but the type rating, and yeah, it's the best flight school of the Netherlands. There are some others as well, like the Dutch Flight Academy, which is also nice. What's nice about that one that they only fly in the Netherlands and in Europe. So with KLM Flight Academy, you first do theory, then you go to the US for half a year to do your first bits of flying, and then you go back to the Netherlands to fly with multi-engine aircraft. With Dutch Flight Academy, you stay in the Netherlands the whole time, and you start with flying actually in the second week or something. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, I think KLM would be best career opportunities, and of course, flying for KLM would be amazing. Um, and I think by joining the KLM Flight Academy, you have the greatest chance to fly for KLM because the KLM Flight Academy is the preferred supplier of KLM. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, we've been working quite well through all those questions in the chat room. Very good. Um, I'm not sure if you pose any question right now, if I'm going to answer all of it, but I try to do my best in the remaining 8 minutes. Marco asks, do you watch other aviation YouTuber channels and have any favorites or useful ones for your viewers? Yes, of course, of course, of course. Um, well, which channel? Ah, Falcon, nice to see you. Good to see you here. I'm glad you joined in. Well, he's from Hawaii, and yeah, now we're talking about YouTube channels. I've been watching Falcon's YouTube channel for a long time. I'll give a link to his YouTube channel. I mean, I think he deserves it. Delta Eagle 7700. Um, I've been watching your channel, Falcon, for a very long time, so I can definitely recommend Falcon's channel right here. And yeah, other channels on YouTube. Um, I listen a lot to the Airline Pilot Guy channel or podcast, and other the really big aviation channels like John 5700 and what's he called, Frugal Sim, and some other channels. But I don't watch that many videos of them. But yeah, it's yeah, there are a lot of good channels out there. You should really take a look. And yeah, of course, the Delta Eagle 7700 is a really good channel as well. I hope Falcon will post some more videos. All right, let's go ahead and answer another question. Mr. Barrow012 again. Have you seen the recent KLM Cockpit Tales videos on YouTube? Yeah, I've seen them. They are really, really cool. Yeah, they are amazing, really. I really like them. I will also put a link to the if it's showing up as a link right now, but jetstream.tv it is, all right? Or am I wrong? Let's look if that's the correct website, actually. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'll delete that one. Jetstream TV. That's where all those KLM videos are at. So they've made multiple flights on the Boeing 737, on the I can't find the link right now, but they've made yeah, beautiful videos, like kind of like the style of Just Planes, and Just Planes is another very nice YouTube channel of containing a lot of real world content, and yeah, it's a very good channel. And but those Jetstream videos of KLM are really cool too, and they explain a little bit for the the rookies out there how the autopilot works, for example, how the Atlantic crossing works, and also the landing at St. Martin. So they've been using the 737, the 747, and the 777 for all those videos, and they're really nice. And on this Jetstream website, or whatever it's called, there are the full videos. So KLM has posted some of them on YouTube, um, but they are quite shortened. But there are longer ones out there available. But they're very nice to watch. I really, really like them, and it really gives me a feeling that I want to fly. Although I don't have a lot of time to make a flight, unfortunately. Okay, um, let's take a look. There are more questions coming in. Uh, all right, Marco. I think you know. I know what you're talking about. To turn the throttle quadrant into the Boeing style. I've seen some products out there that with things you can put on those levers of the throttle quadrants, and yeah. All right, good night, Mike. See you next time. And Mr. Bear is sharing all the KLM videos. They're very good. They're really, really nice. Worth watching. But I was talking about the throttle color of SciTech, and you can put like Boeing throttles on there, so that's pretty nice. Okay, we got another interesting question from FS Sim Guy. Welcome, FS Sim Guy. Good evening. What is one thing that you do not like about the flight sim community? Well, I think I think it's the endless discussions like FETSIM versus IVAO or iFly versus PMDG. I mean, those discussions really, really continue to go on, and people don't appreciate the quality of the products they're talking about. And of course, there are a lot of arguments for and against an iFly or a PMDG product, or a lot of arguments for and against FETSIM and IVAO. But those discussions just keep on coming. And I mean, if someone posts a picture of an iFly aircraft on Facebook, for example, soon that one picture turns into a discussion about PMDG versus iFly, and really, really get annoyed by that sometimes. So I just don't join those discussions. I mean, it's not really worth my time. So that's what I don't like in the flight sim community. And Anonymous 6369 asks if I fly in real. Well, as a passenger, I've flown, of course, a couple of times, and I've flown myself, flying lesson actually once, but not that much in real life. Although I might be doing some glider lessons very soon, so we'll see how that goes. But if I have news about that, I'll of course keep you informed about that. Let's see. I'm closing up very soon, guys. Any remaining questions, I'll answer in the chat room. Yeah, Falcon is right. Those videos are really awesome, and especially like the 737 one. It's a very good one. Very nice and short flights with lots of action. Too bad that he used autopilot from 400 feet till touchdown, but I guess it just was for the purpose of the video, of course. And but it's a really great flight. Anonymous 6369er. Yeah, these are the final answers I'm gonna answer. All right, Mr. Bear Joe 12. Thanks for joining in. Get a good night's sleep, and see you next time. Okay, what do you know about Moldova? Well, I know approximately where Moldova is, but I've never flown to Moldova or anything. So, yeah, I'm not. I don't know much about Moldova. You have to tell me, I think. All right, and yeah, Falcon. That's right. The PSS 757. Rants about my your PSS 757. I've used the PSS 757 in the past too, but that's a really, really long time ago. But at the time, it was the really only good working 757 actually for the FS2004 market. So, we're still waiting for Level D to make a 757. They sometime promised to make a 757 for FSX, but I have no idea when that product will be released. So we'll just have to wait for that. Maybe for Prep RTD 3D as well, of course. All right, guys, it's time for me to go. All right. Thanks, Marco. Thanks for joining in, and I hope to see you all next time. I will close the live stream now. And if you have any remaining questions, I'll try to answer them in the chat box. And yeah, so it seems to work pretty fine. If you have any other feedback about the website, you can leave it in the video about the release of my website. And of course, if you have any tips or anything, then yeah, you can leave comments on Facebook or on my YouTube videos. So thanks for joining in this live stream. I'm gonna stop it right now. Let's take a look. And I'm gonna soon try to get this Hangout Toolbox working, but it was not really working for me this time, and there were a lot of questions to answer. So that was I was too busy with answering questions, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm glad that it all works with the website right now. So I'm gonna quit the live stream. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you next time.